This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
The new Apple Watch Series 10 is here. It has the biggest display ever. It's also the thinnest Apple Watch ever, making it even more comfortable on your wrist. And it's the fastest charging Apple Watch, getting you 8 hours of charge in just 15 minutes. Introducing the all-new Apple Watch Series 10, now available for the first time in glossy jet black aluminum. Compared to previous generation, iPhone XS or later required. Charge time and actual results will vary.
This show is part of the HeadStuff podcast network.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of my lovely podcast / webinar / cultural cornerstone of Ireland. Listen, I'm delicious. I'm glad to have you back again. Thanks for coming back and listening to me. If you're on YouTube, thanks for looking at me. Sometimes it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but I appreciate you making the effort. Hopefully you've been enjoying the podcast now. We've got so many exciting guests coming up. We haven't even gotten started. You're thinking, Garen, how can you possibly keep up the calibre of guests you've had so far? I've only gone and done it this episode, and wait and you see the episodes to come. You're going to be absolutely shook. Is there anybody this man can't get on the podcast? The answer is no. They're all begging to be on it. And I'm giving in to the begging because I'm a nice fella. Today we have Eric, who didn't beg. Eric is very. I'm very lucky to have Eric here today. Eric Roberts, social media extraordinaire. He's one of the most handsome men on the internet, if we can just be honest about it. I felt absolutely disgusting sitting next to him. He's a lovely hair. He's a lovely face on him. I was sitting here like, geez, I'm an ape. I'm such an ape in comparison to this man. And a gentleman as well. It pisses you off. You know, and good-looking people are nice. What's with that? That's fuck. That I think being nice should be for husky men who aren't as easy on the eyes. I think that's who the only people who should be allowed to be nice. But he's a lovely fella. We chatted about loads of things. We chatted about a bit of social media. We chatted about his history as SMA. He's very passionate about that and about the work he did with that, and it's really fascinating to hear about. We talked about Oisin, who appears in his videos and is an absolute national treasure. It's an absolute treasure trove, and I learned something about Eric that I didn't know, which is possibly one of the most fascinating facts about him. He cannot smell. He does not have the ability to smell. And do you know what? I think if you think about other senses, like if I think about, losing my vision, I can imagine immediately how that would affect my life. If I lose my hearing, totally understand how that affect my life. Touch, that's another big one. Couldn't really do without that. Taste. I'd probably be better off if I couldn't taste in a lot of ways, but you'd miss it. But smell. When he said he couldn't smell, I was like, do you know what? How would that affect my life? Because you don't really think about smells. The only time you think about smells is when you're smelling something you don't want to smell. You never really sit around thinking, oh, I'm smelling some medium stuff at the moment. It's really livening things up, You only really think about smell when somebody smells of sweat or farts. Or sometimes if you smell something nice, like if you're in the embrace of the gentle embrace of a lover, you might think their fragrance, it smells like home. Delicious. But those are the only times you really think about smell. You don't think about it on day to day. You don't think about the way that it colours the world. You don't think about the way that your perception is affected by it. So it was really interesting to talk to him about that. I still don't really know how it would affect me. I know smell is a lot of taste, but other than that, does smell really keep you... I suppose that you can smell smoke, you can smell gas. These are things you can smell that keep you from danger. But I think if I had to pick this may be very insensitive to the non-smellers out there. If I had to pick a sense to not have, I think it would be smell. I think I could do without smell. As long as I can still taste a bit. I need to be able to hear. I need to be able to see. I need to be able to touch. I forgot if there's any other ones. I forget what the other ones are. But I need those as well. But smell, I feel if I had to sacrifice one, it'd be that one. No, I'm glad I have smell. I love smelling things. I go around smelling the whole, I'll smell fucking, you show me something, I'll fucking smell it. Do you know that kind of way? I'd be up for kind of smelling anything. Like not in a weird, no weird smelling, just normal. I go around smelling normal things, you know? And I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. But yeah, it's mad. It just makes you think, you know, how do you... He doesn't know what he smells like. Anyway, I'll stop going on about his smell because I kept talking about it and I could sense that he was getting a bit bored of the subject because I was absolutely fascinated by it. So I won't go on about it again. We also talk a good bit about social media. We both sort of do the same thing where we post the old comedy videos on the internet. And a little bit of insight into that. It's not that fascinating of a world, I won't lie to you, but we do have a bit of crack doing it. And he's just all around a lovely fella. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about today? I just wanted to tell you as well, if you're listening to this now, and you might be having a bad day, look after yourself. Hopefully, if you're sitting in the car, maybe you're doing a bit of cleaning, perhaps you're sick of listening to people in your house and you just said, I'm going to go in and listen to Garen. Whatever it is you're doing, if you're having a bad day, look after yourself. Do something nice for yourself this evening. Now, I always kind of get myself a bit of nice food, but I'll have to find something else. But to do something nice for yourself, take the time to relax. Are you getting stressed? Because I'm talking to you now. Are you getting stressed there? If you're getting stressed, maybe it's time to just put on this podcast, but also just have a lie down for yourself and just think, do you know what is stressing me out? And a lot of it, maybe I don't need to be stressed about. Maybe I can just have a lie down, do something I like, look after myself and give myself the credit for what I'm after doing. Do you know? You're busy at home. Maybe you're raising the kids. Maybe if you're having a hard day at work, you're flying around the place. Sit down and give yourself a bit of credit now. Sit with me. This is a guided meditation. I didn't mean for it to be, but it is now. Sit down and just go, do you know what? I'm after doing that today now. I'm after cleaning up the house. I'm after going into work. It was a tough old day in work. You know, maybe I was, the kids are they gone a bit, are the kids gone a bit, you know, are they whinging a bit, right? Are they being a bit annoying, okay? I'm after dealing with all that like an absolute pro. This is my time now to sit down and just think, do you know what? I'm a decent person. I'm flying it here. I'm going through it all. I'm listening to Listen, I'm Delicious. And I'm trying to think of a really good word. So do you know what? We'll edit to when I think of a good word. I am a masterpiece of a human being. So I want you to repeat that in your head now. And that'll be it. Now we're going to move on to our guest, Eric Roberts. And you stay delicious. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's a new episode of Listen, I'm Delicious. You're excited to get it into your ears. You're excited to get it into your mind. But you know who you're going to be excited to get into your eyes? It's the handsome Eric Roberts, everybody. The handsomest man on Irish TikTok.
Hello.
One of the funniest men.
That was an impressive intro. I feel like it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
we were having a general chit chat and we were on.
Well, listen. I feel like I needed to elevate the intro to your caliber.
Well, we were just saying this isn't your first rodeo. You've had some guests on already.
We've had some guests already.
I didn't even know you were doing a podcast until I was asked about this, and I thought he wants me on as his first guest. This is amazing.
Well, you see, Eric, what I had to do was I was afraid to bring you on because you're so handsome that I kind of. I wanted people to get used to my face, so there was like a familiarity bias before I brought you.
You wanted to practice before I came in.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
We're going to start with your snacks. You've brought in some food today.
I have.
Me and you are going for a romantic dinner later on as well.
We are indeed.
You must be jealous, I'd say.
I'm taking Garen out for a sit-down meal. I had no one to go with, basically, and this podcast came about, and Garen kindly has agreed to join me, and we're going to be getting a bit of content stuff out of it.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be fun. Absolutely fabulous.
I've never had that cuisine before. We're going to a Pakistani restaurant.
Pakistani, very exotic.
I've never had the cuisine before, so I'm excited.
I don't actually know what it is.
Couldn't tell
I
you.
don't know anything other than I know what Irish food is, I know what Italian food is, and I know what Chinese food is. And I recently got onto Indian food. Those are the ones I know.
I'm not a big fan of spicy meals, so I'm actually quite nervous. I don't think
it's all always spicy.
But I'm not gonna know.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless there's like a Nando's spice rating beside it, I'm not going to know whether
it's okay.
I'm ordering.
It's okay. You could just go in and ask the typical Irish question of, and would that be spicy? And if they say not really, then you know it's too spicy for you.
Can I get that without the chili flakes?
Can I just have,
absolutely.
bread?
But you asked me to bring some bits. Now I brought milk.
Okay. So we're gonna go through these.
Okay.
We've got a system.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna start with your favorite drink. Is that milk?
One of my favourite drinks is milk.
Full fat milk?
Full fat milk. Now, ideally, I would have had Donegal Creameries, but I felt like if I had bought it in Donegal and brought it down, it might have gone off.
Avonmore, you can tell he's making a bit of money on TikTok buying that.
This is not a sponsored post. But yeah, Avonmore, well, not specifically Avonmore, just milk. I drink full milk night and day.
What do you usually have milk to accompany? Because I don't generally drink milk as a drink, but if I'm having a roast, I have to have a pint of milk.
Night and day, I'll drink milk by the gallon. We go through quite
so you're a milk
large
drinker
amount. I'm a milk drinker. A pint of milk in the morning, pint of milk in the evening. Recently, I've been having I'm really going to open up to you here now. I've been having stomach issues.
Okay.
And my wife is adamant that I'm lactose intolerant, and I refuse to go and get it checked because I'll drink it till it kills me.
Oh, but you can just start drinking oat milk. It's just as good. It's exactly
I refuse to make that leap, and I'm going to drink it for as long as I possibly can. I love it. I love it with everything. I love it in my cereal. I love it in my tea, and I just love it by itself.
Absolutely. I tried to get onto the low-fat milk there for a while because I was on a bit of a health. Well, I'm kind of consistently on a health journey for about 4 hours out of the day. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm a different man. I'm surprised you recognise me when I came in. I do a health journey for about 4 hours a day, and then it kind of becomes less and less of a health journey. If I'm lucky, by the end of the day, it's not a self-destruction journey.
Yes.
That's kind of what the vibe I'm on. I have switched to the low-fat milk.
Well, you're a braver man than I. I just can't.
And I thought I liked it. So
tastes a bit watered down to me.
I was drinking it for about, well, not drinking, but putting it in my cereal and stuff for about probably 6 weeks. And I was like, do you know what? Low-fat milk isn't that bad. And then the other day, I had full-fat milk in my cereal again. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. You know
that's what it's fucking meant to taste like.
You see, it's like watered down. It's just, it doesn't hit the same.
No, it
From an experienced milk drinker like myself, I know the difference immediately.
Yeah.
I know almost by looking at it or the texture.
You could just pick it up in the fingers.
No,
give it a little bit of a wipe.
That's low fat, definitely. Yeah.
You have another drink which I noticed.
I do. Now this, if I've had a couple of pints, I need this.
Yeah, when the minute I see somebody Lucozade, I'm like, you were out last night.
The day after a night's drinking, I am 70% Lucozade.
I'm in the small camp of people that don't like Lucozade.
Really?
Yes. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I love the taste. It catches at the back of my throat here. It becomes sort of a gunk.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something that's wrong with me or if it's
that might be an underlying health risk that you should probably get checked out.
So. I found out something's wrong with me.
Yeah, but now we've been out together.
Yeah.
When I get on the pints, when I get on the gargle, it gets the better of me, and I stay out longer than I should at times. I need this to save me the next day.
Do you ever try would you be like a Lucozade sport man?
I
the old electrolytes into
in my younger years, my father used to be like, you have a bit of that and you'll play better in the second half. And it was like the Space Jam magic water. Yeah. I would have it back then, but now no. This is the only Lucozade I drink. Yeah,
I used to drink Lucozade when I was younger, and then I moved over to BPM. Do you remember? Is BPM still about? Do you remember BPM?
Where I was from, BPM was like, you were a badass if you drank that.
BPM was like...
It was like a gateway drug.
Yeah, like I'd have vodka in it. Boost as well. You'd have a bit of vodka in your Boost.
Okay.
When I was a child who shouldn't have been drinking. I'd have a bit of vodka in the Boost. But then in the morning I'd have the BPM to kind of... It was my hangover drink. I've had 2 hangovers in my life.
Okay, really?
Yeah, 2. Ever.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm
2.
so jealous.
And I'm not even convinced they were fully hangovers. Like... I had a bit of a headache one day, but I went away after about an hour and I was like, oh, I've had a hangover there. Okay. So like a lot of the time when people are telling me they have hangovers, I'm sort of like lying. Like I'm just trying to relate. Like I'm just trying to be friends with people. It's like, oh, I'm dying. I'm like, oh, I did so bad there. I had a headache and I was really tired after drinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like 40-year-old version. It's like a sandbag. When you squeeze
Can you explain to me what a hangover feels like? Because I don't think I've ever had one. Now, I don't drink that heavily now. I haven't for years. But even when I was younger, I don't think I ever had a hangover.
I'm starting to drink less and less now because the older I get, the more it affects me. So if I get a really bad hangover now, it might last 3 days. And that's,
3 days?
That's no exaggeration.
Like, is it just a headache?
It's like I feel like I'm dying initially.
Okay.
And at certain points, you wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
To just going to the other side. It's that bad at times. And as the week progresses, the second day, it's like the second level of it, you start to think, what was I doing? Who did I speak to? Did I say that to that person? I'm never drinking again.
I have never forgotten anything.
Yeah.
I've never, like, people are like, oh, I don't remember a thing. I remember everything that happened since I was born.
I don't forget things, but you recall them.
Yeah, okay, right.
It's not as much that you don't remember what you did, but like, oh, I did that. And
I think it's because I'm fat. Like, I think I've been sort of drinking the same amount as other people. And I'm just not getting as drunk as them. But then I'm just convincing them, oh, they're fucked, so am I. Do you know?
Okay.
But I'm actually probably stone cold sober.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe I'm just not drinking it. Maybe I need to drink more.
Yeah, well, I'm on the way out now. So if you're looking to go out and partying with someone, don't text me.
Okay.
I'm not going to answer. Yeah,
okay.
I'm on a health journey now.
Okay.
Yeah, namaste.
Lovely. So you were telling me that you like. Well, we'll see. You've got sort of the healthy man's chocolate bar here as your snack.
So this, when I'm on the road, like we're both in showbiz now.
We are.
I'm on the road quite a bit, so this is my go-to travel snack. Where I'll pick this up, and I tell myself it's good for me, it's healthy. Some fruit might be a bit better, but a protein bar.
Yeah, fulfilled bars are decent. They're like one of the nicest protein bars. I'm not generally a protein bar man. I think they taste like sort of like sand.
Yeah.
Which I don't like.
Oh, I hear that.
Speaking. Yeah. But fulfills are pretty good.
I think they're just filling.
I like the mint one.
Really, I'm not a big mint guy.
Oh, I am.
See, a lot of it falls down to I don't have a sense of smell.
Yeah.
And people often...
You don't have a sense of smell?
I was born without a sense of smell. My sister was born without a sense of smell. It runs in our family. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. But people always say, oh, how does that affect your taste? I don't know.
You don't have a sense of smell?
I've never smelt anything. You could come into me in the middle of the night and just use my chest as a bathroom and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't wake up.
That's mad. So you don't know... You don't know what anything smells like.
The best way I can describe it is when blind people try to describe what it is.
Why did I not know this? But this is a fascinating fact.
It's not something I lead with when I introduce myself to people.
Well, you should. This is fascinating.
Hello, I'm Eric. I can't smell you.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. This is excellent, though.
Yeah, but it was something that growing up I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Because when you're around people growing up, it's like, oh, that stinks, and you're like, oh, maybe I'm just not picking it up. But again, like you, I would play along, like, oh yeah,
yeah.
Who did that? Must have been Jason back there. He always stinks.
So you can't smell and I can't have hangovers. Seems we're one and the same here.
It's like a superpower almost, I think.
So you can't smell anything. Can you tell in any way if something smells? Like, can you tell? You know, sometimes, well, you don't know, but you know how sometimes you can sort of taste a smell. Can you do that?
I think so. Like if you came in here and sprayed some Lynx and my eyes were closed and I was going like that, I would know that it was Lynx because I can taste it.
So you don't know you don't know what you smell like. You don't know what aftershave.
No.
What aftershave do you use?
So whatever my wife gets me.
Yeah, you don't know why.
Yeah.
You don't know why you're using it.
I have no idea. It could be a bottle of piss. I have absolutely no clue. But it's again, if you were going to pick a sense to miss, you would pick that.
Yeah.
But I don't miss it. Because a lot of the things
there's going to be women out there thinking, geez, he's the perfect man because I could absolutely decimate the toilet. You wouldn't have a clue, like.
Well, that's my wife enjoys it, but she doesn't enjoy it in the sense that I don't know. Like I fart, like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah,
especially if I'm on a high protein diet.
Obviously, you can feel your arse though, so you know you've farted.
Exactly, but I don't know what I'm emitting.
Yeah,
like I don't think to myself, oh, that's going to be really unpleasant for anyone that's around here because I've never smelt one myself. Yeah. So to me, it's just air leaving my body.
See, now if I was your parents and I knew that you and your sister couldn't smell, I would have convinced you from a young age that it's like people love it when you're farting near them. That they love
of course,
the smell.
Yeah. Just to really make people hate me.
Here you go.
But it wasn't until we were 18. My sister was 18. I was maybe 21, 22. She went to the doctors and they discovered that she didn't have a sense of smell. Because again, it's not something you realise when you're growing up.
What's the test? Like, how did they find?
I don't know how they tested. I never got tested. When she got tested and it came out, I just said, I don't have one either. And my mum broke down into tears. Like she was like, you've never smelled anything and you're never going to smell anything. You've never smelled roses or flowers or a Chinese on your lap driving home. And I'm like, yeah, but I've never smelt human feces either. Do you know what I mean? I've never smelt a fart.
You have no idea what that smells like.
I have no idea. It really hit home for me. I was working in like a Montessori, like a creche. And at the time I was really involved training. Like I was training really hard. I was going on this trip and I was young, like in my younger 20s.
Yeah.
And a new girl had started. and I was just throwing like fart.
Yeah.
Now I would be conscious of it sometimes, but again, if she was up the top of the room and I was down the bottom of the room and I farted, I'm not going to think it's going to make her way up there. And also, we're in a classroom filled with children, some of them wearing nappies.
And
it couldn't possibly come back to me.
To you that farts are quite different? So like
I know
sometimes
now.
you can fart and it's sort of undercover, like there's not really, it doesn't really leave a trail. And sometimes you can do what feels like quite a benign fart and it's like an atomic bomb. Like it's very
Well,
potent.
this is what I realised working with this poor girl, because there was a day when I was just letting them rip, and she walked to my vicinity and she said, "Oh my God." And she kind of was like, the blood rushed from her face. She's like, "What is that smell?" And I kind of went, "Is it the sink?"
Yeah.
Thinking the sink has been clogged up from the paint that the children have been using for the finger paints. I'll blame that. And she went, "Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, I think it is." Now, about 2 months later, thinking I had gotten away with this and continuing to fart amongst the children, she approached me on the staff night out and she says, "You fucking stink." And I was like, "Sorry?" She's like, "You fucking stink all the time." And it hit me then. I was like, "Yeah, I've been farting in front of this woman for 2 months and she knows."
That's mad.
So now I try and hide them more. I'm more conscious about when I fart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I farted twice since sitting down.
This is fascinating to me. Though I will say, as somebody who's got the full, like I'm fairly sure I have actually 7 or 8 senses, but I've got the full 5 everyone else has anyway. Smell is the one I'd give up.
Yeah.
If I had to give one up, it would be smell.
You don't miss it.
Yeah.
The reference was made, a blind person said, it's like trying to look at something out your elbow.
Yeah.
It's just not there. So I don't miss it. I don't want it. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So again, so like I'm fascinated by this. Probably more fascinated than I should be. So let's say I spray Lynx in the room, right? Mm-hmm. You say that you can understand that it smells. But like so can you like taste it? Can you taste it?
So I can taste things, but again, I can't eat spicy food. Spicy food to me is like torture. Now I don't know if that's because of that.
Right, okay.
But like people that I enjoy it fascinates me because I have no idea how you can possibly enjoy it because it hurts me. I love sweet things. I have a really big sweet tooth. I love like barbecue sauce and sweet chili sauce. I need that on food. And I think
sweet is like, I think as far as I know, sweet is the flavour that's least related to smell.
Right, okay.
So that makes sense. Because I know that certain flavours like ugami or whatever it is, the one that's like soy sauce. Umami.
Unagi.
I think I was mixing up that with the, where they make like little swans out of paper.
Origami,
yeah. I was somewhere in the middle. Umami. So that like taste that soy sauce has. I think that's most related to smell.
Right, okay.
And then they kind of go down the list. Yeah. So it makes sense that you would like sweet food.
Listen, this is probably the first time I've openly talked about this.
It's fascinating to me.
So there you go. But I'm living a good life. I'm happy.
Do you know what? Why it's interesting is because if somebody can't see or they can't hear, I sort of have an immediate reference for how that would affect their life.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's like really easy for me to go, if you can't see, this is how it would affect you. Mm-hmm. But smell is like the subtlest sense, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's like you kind of go like, what? How would that actually affect me if I couldn't smell?
It's the only time I've ever been like, oh my God, this is awful.
Yeah.
I was invited to an event with Brown Thomas.
Okay.
When I kind of just started doing social media, and I was invited to this thing in Brown Thomas, and it was for an aftershave, Joe Malone, very well-known aftershave. And I thought it was this event that other influencers would be at, and we go and we take photos of the bottles, and then we might get a sample, and we would leave. I arrived in, there was a woman at the front with a glass of champagne in a private room in Brown Thomas, and I walked in, and there was 3 people and one seat, and I sat down in the seat, and they began to tell me about all these fragrances, and they would spray one and bring it over. Yeah. And they would make me smell it, and then they would bring it back, and the other person would talk through where the fragrance came from. And I was sitting there going, for about 25 minutes. Oh, yes. And they were like, can you sense the mahogany in this one? It's slightly different. I was yes. And they made me pick my favourite, and I was like, that one. So yeah, for about half an hour in Brown Thomas, I was at a fragrance testing event, and I hadn't the heart to tell them.
That's kind of like, obviously it's not the same thing, but that's kind of how I feel when people are talking about how good wine is. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people will try like different wines and be like, oh, you can really taste like the chocolate off this. And it just, all of it tastes like vinegar to me.
Yeah, I'm not a big wine guy.
It's because it's horrific. It doesn't taste nice.
Yeah.
I was in France once over at a wedding, and I was chatting to this French one that was like running the place. And I was drinking wine there, and she was like, "Oh, have you ever had like, this kind of wine?" I was like, "Oh no." And we were like on a vineyard, and they like made their own wine, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to get you something really special now." So she brings out this wine, and she was telling me it was, I don't know, however many, I don't know if I've told the story before. She was telling me, it's however many years old or whatever, right? And it was like, must have cost like, I don't know, it cost like £1,000 or something like that. She pours it off, and I had absolutely no idea how to explain to her why it was nice, because it tasted exactly the same as the piss I was drinking when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
I feel sorry if you see this. I didn't enjoy that wine. I'm really sorry you wasted the money on me.
I had a similar situation. I was invited to a thing in London. It was like a wine tasting thing, and me being the joker of the group. It was a very serious group, and I thought this would be funny. I was like, I'm a bit of a connoisseur myself.
Yeah.
And I picked it up, and I knew all the movements from seeing the things, and everyone kind of was like looking in to see what I would think of what year it was, and I went, that's white wine. And no one laughed, and everyone was just kind of looking confused, and I realised this isn't the group for me. Yeah. Wine groups are different kind of groups of people.
Yeah, I'm not like... I think it's like one of them things you have to pretend to get into when you get to like a certain level of money.
Yes.
You have to kind of start. Like recently, I started making sort of above minimum wage, and that was the first time I ever got into cheese, because I felt like it was time for me to do middle class stuff.
Yeah.
So I went and I bought like a cheese board with like cheeses I didn't understand, and I sort of ate them all. And now I like, not all of the cheeses, but I like maybe like 2 or 3 instead of just cheddar.
Okay. I had a similar thing happen to me.
And olives.
Yeah. I feel like when you get to a certain age, you're at more wakes than you used to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like recently cheese boards have become quite popular.
It's huge. We're trying to be sophisticated, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've weirdly found myself slightly excited if I heard like an elderly person in the community had passed, and I would say there's going to be, it might be a delicious cheese board of that. Yeah. That sounded morbid, I'm sorry.
What's your favourite cheese?
I'm a brie man, but also goat's cheese, and I don't know that
You're kind of a soft cheese guy.
I'm not as well versed as you are, but there's the coloured kind of one that looks like sort of burgundy sprinkles on it.
I haven't.
I'm not sure what it is, but again, it's very soft.
Is that like the ones that has like little chili flakes in it?
I don't know if they're chili flakes per se, but again, a soft spreadable cheese.
A soft spreadable cheese, yeah. I don't like those, and I'll tell you why. They smell too strong.
Well, there we are.
Goat's cheese, it just kind of sticks in the back of my throat.
I wouldn't know.
This has been a fascinating conversation about smell.
Yeah.
This show is part of HeadStuff Podcasts. Here's another show you might like.
Hi there, I'm Grace Alice. I'm a sex and intimacy educator, and I have a quick question for you. Have you found the G-Spot yet? The G-Spot is your go-to podcast for all things sex, intimacy, pleasure, relationships, dating, all that good stuff. And season 2 is out now. I tackle all kinds of dilemmas, from the sensitive to the spicy, with my amazing guests, including comedian Anna Clifford, activist Natasha O'Brien, cyber psychologist Dr. Nicola Fox Hamilton, and plenty more. No topic is off limits, so listen now on headstuffpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Seriously, Diane, was Colgate your secret to winning Best Smile back in high school?
Yep, and it still is. I even work overnight.
Huh?
Colgate's Optic White Overnight Whitening Pen works overnight. So after 1 week, I can show up confident and reunion ready.
And here I was bragging about my kids.
Colgate Optic White. Find it at all major retailers.
What is your favorite meal?
My death row meal, and my meal I get every Sunday, is crispy duck pancakes with hoisin sauce.
Absolutely.
Again, just that sweet. And Dunn's now sells hoisin sauce, so I put it on everything. I put it in my breakfast in the morning. I have eggs and sausages, put a hoisin on the side.
I briefly went through like a vegan phase, and I learned to cook like this stir fry thing. and it was like a vegan. So now I don't think you can have hoisin when you're vegan. I think there might be fish in it. I might be thinking of another one.
Okay.
But I learned to make this stir fry thing. And anyway, it was atrocious. I did lose a load of weight at that time, but it probably wasn't worth it eating that stir fry thing. But anyway, so I could cook 2 meals after I became a vegan. I could cook stir fry, and I could cook a burrito, like a vegan burrito.
Lovely.
So I upgraded them when I moved back to the meat, and I started making this like stir fry with hoisin sauce in it, right? And one day, I made it and I put too much hoisin sauce on it. And I was eating it anyway. And I had a bit of ice cream. I had a few, like I ate that, right? Then I went to sleep too soon after I ate it. And then sometimes it kind of comes up again if you go to sleep too soon.
Yeah.
So it came up and it was just very pungent the way it came up. So now I'm afraid of hoisin sauce.
Right, okay.
So anytime I even smell it now,
it brings that back.
Yeah. Even though I know it's delicious, I have like trauma.
PTHD.
Post-traumatic
hoisin.
Post-traumatic repeating on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been there, but I can't put it down. I love it. I absolutely love it. Almost as much as milk.
Almost as much as full fat, pricey milk.
Yeah. Donegal Creamery, if you're watching.
And you're flying it these days. I see you here, there, and everywhere. You're all around the place.
I feel like I'm kind of steadily keeping busy.
Yeah.
Not like the stratospheric growth that you've had in the last year and a half.
I'm just sitting in the house shouting at cups of tea.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
That's all I'm doing.
What's interesting is a lot of
you
people...
You do all night. Like, I feel like the nice brands want to work with you. But like nobody wants me to get it into, anything that's supposed to be fancy. Hello, how are you getting on? Get an old BMW for yourself.
Well, look.
I seem like the sort of
I can put you in touch with them.
I think it's because I seem like the sort of fella who'd sell you a BMW with no engine in it.
Really? I'd buy a BMW.
Whereas you're sort of like a BMW. You're a fine looking man. You're swanky. You're sophisticated.
Yeah.
I don't think I give off that vibe. I'm more of like a sort of a Peugeot kind of a look.
I think I accredit that a lot to early on and my mum at the time, because when I started posting online, I was a special needs assistant. I was working in schools and I was working with kids, so I couldn't afford then, at the risk of anyone seeing it, colleagues or principals or whoever seeing that content, me cursing or me being vulgar in any sort of way. So I had to keep it PG. And then I kind of built a following off that. And when I left work, I kind of just kept it.
Yeah.
So it's made me quite brand friendly, I suppose.
Yeah,
in that sense. I'm lucky in that sense.
How did you find the transition from working as a special needs assistant to doing social media influencing or whatever we're calling it?
Yeah,
it's a big career shift. But obviously you were very passionate about what you were doing before, and you're obviously passionate about making content as well. But they're two completely different careers. So how did you find moving from one to the other?
I found the transition quite easy, because my content, I do skits and I do jokes and stuff, but a lot of it is just what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working as an SNA, so a lot of my content was, this happened today in school.
Yeah.
Little Jimmy said this to little Peter. It was hilarious. And I'm telling these stories about what they're saying to me. And when I left then, it was, I'm doing this now and I'm working with this brand, or I'm traveling to this place. So it's always kind of steadily, it wasn't a big shift where I was doing one particular thing and I had to jump to do another particular thing. But I was very, very busy for about 6 months before I left.
Yes.
And I was one of these early on TikTokers or creators. There's so many of us now, but I was one of the lucky few to kind of take off.
I only got in when it was trending.
Yeah, he was late. He was late to the party. But I was lucky enough to kind of take off before then, but it was unheard of to leave your career to do it. Like a lot of the other ones were kind of young teenagers coming up and they didn't have a job.
Yeah.
I was 30 years old with a career.
Yeah.
That's what I was supposed to be doing until I retired. And now I'm turning around to mum and dad and be like, I think I might leave to post TikToks full time. Like, that wasn't a thing then. It's a thing now, and it's a career that people enjoy doing.
It's amazing that's changed so much in a couple of years.
Only in the last span of 2 or 3 years, it's an actual career. But then it wasn't, and like they had no idea what I was talking about, or if there was money to be made. But I was kind of, I got to a point where I would say no to a certain opportunity to go to work 5 days a week, but it made more sense to do this one thing. So it kind of, the decision was made for me in a sense, which was great.
Yeah.
And it was only when I took the leap that it really kind of took off. So it was the best decision I ever made, and I'm one I'm still enjoying, and hopefully I don't have to go back to a normal 9 to 5, because I'm really, really enjoying what I'm doing, all the opportunities and the places that I'm going and the people that I'm meeting. So I loved the job that I was in, but I don't feel like I'm working now. I feel like every day is just like people often say to me, you're flat out and you always look so busy and stuff, but I don't consider myself to be busy. I just consider myself to be doing really fun things all the time.
Yeah. I think that is kind of the amazing thing about it, because I was doing, like, I was teaching and stuff before I was doing this, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. And I think I am busy now, but it's all such like sort of engaging, interesting stuff. I'm having one of the things is, I think, for me, it's been really good, because I was very sort of reclusive for years because I had some issues around that. And it's really given me the opportunity, because I had never really left the country or anything like that. So these are things I don't think I would have ever done in my life without the whole social media thing.
I'm the exact same. Like in the last 2-3 years, the places I've gone and the stuff that I've been doing, and as you said, like working with brands like BMW and like I was in my job, and I was kind of lucky enough. Like, I wasn't super intelligent in school, but I knew I had more to give than what I was doing. Yeah. In that sense, like whatever way that's set up, if you're not doing well in school, you're not going to do well in life. But I knew I wanted to do something in life. Yes. And I was very late on, found a passion for this, and I know I'm quite good at it. Yeah. But if TikTok hadn't come around, I would have just been, that would have been my job for the rest of my life, and who knows, I would have been fucking depressed or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We're all very lucky that these things have, 100%. These creative outlets have come around. Like, for us.
100%. I think it kind of falls onto everybody's lap in a way that's doing it, where, you know, we all sort of started off doing it for the crack, and I don't think anybody really thought there was. I didn't know people did it for a living when I started. I had no concept of that. I was just having the crack, and it sort of grew around the time I was starting. Yeah. And it's a funny thing now, because people ask me a lot now, like how to get into it, and it's hard to know, because I didn't have the mindset of trying to get into it, and I don't know if that's part of what helps, is that you're not trying to do a specific thing, you're just kind of doing your own thing, which would probably be the advice I'd give people. But it's really interesting, and it's great to have a platform. You know, obviously you're passionate about working with people with special needs and stuff like that, and now that you're able to grow your platform and stuff, you can share those things with people and inform people about things, and it's a great thing, and it's great. There's a lot of really positive stuff on your page. I love all the stuff you have with Oisin. I never see him in a video and I don't get a smile out of the videos. They're
well, that's the thing. My page isn't my own anymore, because a huge percentage of my followers follow along for Oisin, and that was something that, like, we kind of had sit down conversations with early on, thinking, how am I supposed to be transparent and share my life if I don't put Oisin up? But also it was scary at the time. The internet's a horrible place, and it's a scary place, and you're thinking, God, I don't want to subject Oisin to that, especially when Oisin can't say, I want to be in a video today. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? So how do you then decide whether you want to involve them in everything? But I'm posting my other nieces and nephews, I'm posting my family, and we all said, Oisin's part of the family, we're going to post them. Yeah. So early on, I was primarily skits I was doing, and I remember I did a skit where I said, Tanya, the kids are finished their pancakes, and she's like, I'll just throw them away. I was like, are you sure? I'm like, okay. And then I throw the kids out of the house, and I wheel Oisin out of the house. Yeah, I remember that. Some of the comments were like, he's in a wheelchair, you shouldn't be doing that. And I was kind of like, well, I'm involved in my other niece and nephew. Should I not involve him because he's in a wheelchair? Yeah. And it got a really, really powerful response. And from then I just kind of posted more and more, but it was more authentic stuff, just interactions with them as opposed to skits. Yeah. And the reaction even now is just incredible, where I have people coming up, and if they see me, they can get emotional and say, oh, I have a son on the spectrum. Yeah. So it's powerful for me, and that's the most rewarding thing for me, is that I've left the S&M, but because I have Oisin in my life, I can still bring it to mainstream media and still showcase in a way where these kids are really special, and some of these adults are really special, and some of the most intelligent and funny people I've ever met in my life. And Oisin is so musically gifted, and the likes of the Coldplay concert, and being able to share all that's really special, because I know it's helping other people that are in similar situations. But also Oisin's just a star himself, and people want to see him, and people want to watch him. So that's one of the main things I love to post, as well as all the funny stuff and the traveling. But I think that's something people really love to watch. So I love to post it.
No, absolutely. I love to say I love all your content, but I love to see Oisin on the page, because no matter what mood you're in, you can really tell the relationship you have and how much it does for him and how special you both are to each other. And it's always such a nice thing to say. Whenever I say it, it always puts a smile on my face.
That's good. I'm glad, and I hope people continue to enjoy it. And he's got to the point now where he's like, let's make a video. And do you know what I mean? He loves it as well.
And you can tell that in the videos that he's having a ball. Yeah.
If people come up to us now and ask for a photo, his immediate response now is, because he's based on his life's based on routine. So now his routine is when people come up, he says, "Hello, fans."
Yeah.
He knows that these people. Yeah. Hello, fans. He's a star.
Just for anybody who might be watching who doesn't have context or hasn't seen the videos, what are Oisín's difficulties?
So Oisín was very, very premature, and he was born with a lot of complications, but he's on the spectrum now, and he has cerebral palsy as well. Yeah. So it's not that he's non-verbal. We can have conversations with Oisín, but you mightn't be able to sit down and have a conversation with Oisín.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? He's got no mobility, he's in a wheelchair, and he will be for the rest of his life. But he's... Again, I want to say one of the most intelligent people I've ever met, if that makes sense, because he's so unique. And a lot of people on the spectrum are similar, that they can be hyper-focused on one particular thing. Oisín's is music.
Yeah.
And you could name any song or any artist or play a note from any genre, and he'll be able to tell you who sings and when it was from. And it's incredible to watch. And again, I kind of work primarily with children that were on the spectrum during my time as an SNA. And just some of the most interesting, amazing characters you'd ever meet, you know what I mean? So I feel very lucky to have done that, and continuing to just bring that to the mainstream is something that I'm going to hope to do for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah. And it's great to show people as well, you know, like despite those challenges that he has, he lives such a full life. He does so many things. He's clearly enjoying himself all the time. And it's just a great thing to see.
Yeah, it just, what I always say is, if you have problems in your life and stuff, and then you see what these kids are going through and how happy they are, you give yourself a kick up the hole. Like your problems aren't as bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, excellent chat with the mystique that is Eric Roberts.
Not as mysterious. Now I feel like I've told you everything.
Yeah. Now everybody knows you can't smell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. He said, I feel like we know each other much better now. And also, if you need anybody to smell anything ever, I'm your man. I've got actually quite a good sense of smell. So, guys, thank you for watching. Eric, let them know where they can find you if they want to follow you.
I'm on all the social medias, Eric Roberts. I can hear though, and I've heard you fart 3 times.
He can hear, but he can't smell. And I actually can't hear. I can, but just very badly.
Go ahead, tune into the Patreon to find out more.
Yeah. We test exactly what I can hear and what he can smell. That's a lie. Anyway, follow him. He's delicious, and stay delicious.
This show is part of the HeadStuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with HeadStuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.